Alright? In the space of 2 weeks, we've had Winterclash and the last ever Bittercold Showdown. So as you can imagine, there's been some outrageous skating gone down. Let's kick off with the Bittercold Showdown. All the stunts are performed by professionals. Do not attempt this yourself. Bittercold was back after a 10-year hiatus with over 70 competitors, women, men, AM, pros, all mixed in together, battle royale style. It was particularly cool seeing the women hold their own, especially the likes of Becky Sotelo and China Wirestyle. I wish I could have been there to watch the thing in person, so nice one for the live stream. It's no walk in the park setting up that kind of stuff, but watching it was like watching CCTV, man. It was really hard to get a gauge on like what the atmosphere was like. The comment section was hilarious. I'm not going to stitch anybody up and like show their comments or anything like that, but there was some proper gold in there. Gold. Chris Edwards was the MVP for me with his Instagram live stream. He was down in the trenches getting all the action. I think he thought he was Don West or something. There was one point where people were skating past and he was giving them advice. I actually thought he was going to jump on Zach Savage's back at one point and get that like first person angle, like VR style. One thing that confused me a bit was the spotlight section. It was like they were shining a bat signal at people, or as if they'd just escaped from jail and they were like trying to sneak away or something. I was half expecting somebody to appear in their Vauxhall Nova with their lights on full beam, shining them in somebody's face. Surely it's more difficult when you turn off the lights and you're just using a massive spotlight. Joe Atkinson took third after some liquid skating, smoothly gliding around the place. There was a bit where it looked like he was just trying to plane some wood off the surface of one of the extensions.
I respect wood. I revere wood.
Cudot was given second, which surprised a few people. It felt like he was continuing at the same level of his Winterclash runs, maybe even more measured at times as well. I do feel like Zach Savage chalked up a number of bangers and was heading to the podium, but it was hometown hero Luke Naylor who bagged the win. I'm a fan of his skating and it's cool to see him win. It's almost like a fairy tale ending for Bittercold. However, based on the comments I've seen, a fair chunk of people believe Cudot was better. Without actually being there, and with the limited footage that's actually out at the moment, I think it's like a little bit too early for people to be getting emotional or feeling any kind of way about the results. The bits I've seen of Luke look good to me. There seems to be more footage of Cudot floating about, which could definitely like sway people's opinion. But I just leave it to those who are there making the decisions, and I look forward to the edits. What was people's take on not being penalised for falling? I guess the idea was to encourage people to go completely berserk and not hold back. There was a fair few moments where it looked like people were just like swimming around on the floor. Imagine an outsider stumbling across the stream and seeing that. They'd be completely baffled. They'd think it was like adult adventure slip and slide. Bittercold also provided the first glimpse at Law's new skate prototype under the brand name Standard Skate Co. People are saying it looks like a cross between a Them blank skate with a Mesmer sole. Definitely keen to see more pics of it, and I'm a fan of their retro futuristic like aesthetic that they've got going on their Instagram page. It's a big shame the thing is over, but really cool to hear that Daniel Kenny was like keen to like pass on the torch and give his blessing to somebody else to take the thing on. Love to see more big events in the diary, more chances to improve on like live stream, really work out the tweaks, get them like fully functioning amazing. There was some big skating at Winterclash. First off though, let's talk about Adapt, a brand that does not know how to read the room.
And you, Joey, can't read the room.
So after allegedly threatening to break a kid's legs and then say they'd do it again, their next move to try and win back some favour. In an industry where people moan about the price of skates, they decided to drop a skate for €1,350 boot only.
Hello, bozo.
You can't even skate it for that money. It's an ornament. You've forgone paying your rent money, handed that over, and you can't even skate the thing. That is your house for the next month until you get paid again and you can buy frames, wheels, bearings, and maybe look to invest in a moral compass. You could buy a second-hand Fiat 500 for less that actually comes with wheels. It looks like a non-stick frying pan for NASA. You could probably cook on it if you had any money left over for eggs. Skates shouldn't be more expensive than the ledge you are grinding. Who is your target audience? Narcissistic polo players on their day off? These were on display at Winterclash, where people were sneaking in beer to save a little bit of money. Just think about that for a second.
You're right. It was silly. It was very, very silly.
Oh, and what's the modest name of this collection? Masterpieces. They actually called their own collection of products masterpieces. Now, I don't knock the confidence in their product, but that is like calling yourself a legend.
I am a winner. I am a winner.
Sam Croft didn't accidentally knock Bobby out. He just told him the price of the skates and Bobby's bow tie started spinning around and he flopped it like, what? Julien, you seen the price of these skates, mate? Boot only, these are approximately like what, 3 to 4 times more expensive than any other skate. Say with a full setup, just say they're 5 times more expensive than any other skate at the moment. Are they going to be 5 times more comfortable? Are they going to improve your skating 5 times more? Are you going to all of a sudden open access to 5 times more tricks that you weren't able to do before? I honestly think the difference will be negligible. You're not L'Oreal. They're not worth it.
Actually, I don't mind spending more for L'Oreal because I'm worth it.
On a serious note, good to hear that Bobby's noggin was alright. Ren Fujiwara got clattered as well, but he was alright. Good to hear. Like, head injuries are not to be taken lightly. Like, if you get hit in the head, rattle yourself, like, and the medics are telling you, don't skate, probably best not to do it. Ricardo Lino recently posted up a video with your man Pete from Adapt, and quite rightly, people questioned why he was promoting him and the brand. Why would you have this dude on your channel after what he did? Not good. Hard pass for me on this one as well, dude, sorry. I will never consider buying Adapt skates with all the drama, etc. and don't really want to support any content that supports them. See you in the next vid though. Heart. Ricardo responded to some of the comments and said, I have decided to stay neutral. Right, which translates to I'm gonna play ignorant. I'm gonna ignore that an adult allegedly threatened to break a kid's legs and then said they'd do it again. Plus I'm gonna skip past the previous riders coming out with similar stories. And instead, I'm actively gonna promote the man, the brand, with a 50-minute video, effectively co-signing his behavior.
We can't let anyone die to make this video. No bodies were harmed in the makeup.
Because it's fun. Maybe you could argue that the original incident happened like quite a long time ago, but it was only 4 months ago, with the benefit of hindsight, that Peter still decided to go, yeah, I'll do it again. So it's totally relevant still. He hasn't changed his mind. And I imagine if you asked him today, it'd be the same response. Peter and Ricardo, you are this month's wet packet ham.
You played yourself.
The skates got leaked as well. This also included a leak of the John from Pro Skate. Now I feel for John. Ghosted by Valo, buoyed by razors, and now when you do get a Pro Skate, your boss has gone into like self-sabotage mode. John From must have been screwing, and he must have been like, oh mate, you couldn't have just said nothing. You couldn't have just waited a little bit until after the skate was out, then gone on your mad tirade. Interestingly, John From's Pro Skate is like a full fat Pro Skate, as in all of it is his Pro bits. Pro boot obviously, Pro frame, Pro wheels.
Full house.
So if you're not into Adapt, but you do like John From, you could support him via 50/50 and Red Eye Wheels. Brian Shima has got a re-released Shima 3 and it's a stunner. It's such a good looking skate and it's excellent to see Brian skating around at Michelle and Miguel's compound, doing what he can and, like, from what I can tell, enjoying himself. Really special to see him at the Winterclash. Like, his presence alone just elevated the mood, I felt. And not just for like the fans who were like really keen to talk to him and tell him how much they loved him and stuff like that, but also for like the skaters that he's like been friends with for years and years, catching up with him again. Everybody looked buzzing. Now I know people can be split over nostalgic releases, but I believe this one has a lot going for it. First of all, Brian is a well-loved skater, and the skate is a well-loved skate. Re-releases sell well, supposedly better than like current Pro skates. I just hope that Brian gets the money that he deserves, and then the rest of the money goes into things like Andrew Broom's Pro model, Jason Andriani's Pro model, like into the current team and pushing things forward rather than, you know, just into somebody's back pocket. There's been plenty of other new product releases in and around Winterclash. Kaiser have released a suspension frame and it is an actual suspension frame, so don't be listening to Austin Paz lying.
So I don't even know why they're really calling it a suspension frame. I think that's misleading. Lie some more. Pretty much wheels 1 and 2 work together and wheels 3 and 4 work together, and they work like a seesaw. When one goes up, one goes down like this.
Unsubstantiated fantasy! Lies! Lies!
One of the funniest things about that is while Austin's talking, he's got a picture in the background which clearly shows what he's saying can't be true, because based on his logic, there's no way the wheels could be both down at the same time if they're connected to the same piece. Like, one would have to be up while the other one is down. They can't both be down at the same time. There'd be like a midpoint, but they're both down in the picture. To get a better understanding of it, head over to the Sprung's website, which is a hockey brand. Physics actually licensed one of their designs back in the day, which is why you've got the Sprung's logo on the Physics frames. So it seems quite likely that Kaiser are also like licensing that pattern, or like maybe the pattern's run out and they've just taken it. Kaiser have also released a sole plate frame all in one. Interesting to see them do that. I wonder how that's going to go down, because people seem to be really into customization, and then like, you're losing it there. And I guess, well, the benefit is like, I don't know, better energy transfer. Some first quarter promotions. Mikhail Witzeman has now turned pro for USD. He did have his eyes set on the Winterclash AM win. Made a little bit of room in his trophy cabinet, but then USD came along and were like, looks like you're pro, mate. Get out there and enjoy yourself. You also got a pro wheel from Red Eye, which is accompanied by a promo. Very casual feeling park edit. Like, don't misunderstand me when I say casual. I rate Michael's tricks. It's just like, the stuff he does looks like an absolute doddle to him. I'm very keen for his pro introduction edit. Red Eye were dishing out wheels all over the place. Jason Adriani's got a wheel, and he deserves it for that true fish that he did at Winterclash. Mate, that was crisp. Crispy.
Very nice.
Jared Banning got the cat dog wheel.
Alone in the world with a little cat dog.
Sneaky swung for the Power Ranger wheel. Plus John From, which I mentioned before, went for the old James Bond. Remember James Pond? That's the reason why I was late to school so many times. Going around to my mate's house, a couple of games and that before we set off. Right, come on. Right, so let's actually talk about the skating and Winterclash. Now there's loads of edits. I'll leave links in the description to as many of the ones that I can find, stuff like that, and I'll just like briefly go over what happened. The juniors was top rate. Really good to see a lot of the names that I mentioned in the Future Stars of Rollerblading getting stuck into the competition. None of them seemed scared of the obstacles. So there's big obstacles there. They seemed to handle them perfectly. Like Scotland's Fabian Maffei took the win. He looked at home on the course, loads of control, loads of style, plus he was a proper showman, like amping the crowd up. There was one bit where he was waiting to do like his final trick, and he was giving it all of this, getting the crowd excited and stuff. I loved that. We need to do more of that in rollerblading. Natural showman. He has definitely got a bright future ahead of him. What was really cool and positive to see was after the event, you could still catch loads of the juniors skating various bits around the course and the park. Like, people were still skating the bowl, they were flying into the foam pit or on the resis. They were giving it some beans, man. That's really good. Really encouraging to see how like keen they are to skate. The AMs were next and they turned it up a notch. But how was Naburu Kaseyama not even top 5? I must just be really biased. But I do actually love his skating. I could watch him skate the course on his own all day. He is phenomenal. I was definitely getting myself excited when Seba was stringing a few lines together. Ren Fujiwara put on a style school. He was floating around the place blessing obstacles. He's the patron saint of style. That's me now every week praying to the patron saint Ren. Ren, man, just bless us with a little bit of your style, man. Come on, just a bit. They should set up a confession box at Winterclash. You can go and confess your style sins and like ask style master Soichiro Kaneshima for forgiveness. Also, Ren didn't stop smiling. Land a trick, buzzing, he was smiling. Misses his trick, not so buzzing, but he was still smiling, so kind of buzzing. And it really captured the mood and was like, made it look that much more enjoyable to watch and be like, oh, this is actually great. Justice Karkauskas was class, man. Great style, great trick selection, and I recommend catching more of his skating in Trip Rip 2022. And Victor Down took the win for the AMs. The women's skating was off the Richter scale, man. It was off the Ricky Tick. Amber Riviera, with the most accurate Instagram handle ever, Amber Smiles, was making light work of the Winterclash course on the big rail, on the firecracker. You can catch a load of more of her skating on Butt TV. Avi Garrido is killing it. Mel Tisler, who has really good competition pedigree, was very impressive. Knows how to spin out of a trick. It's always really exciting seeing Chihiro Azuma skate. I really like the level she holds herself when it comes to execution of tricks, which is a great example for anyone. She put on some of my favourite skating all day. She's already got 3 Winterclash wins in the locker, became second this time to Daniela Salgado, who was a force on the course, throwing out tricks left, right and centre. It's like the obstacles had wronged her and she was getting revenge. When she was announced as the winner, it was a really emotional moment. Her friends, family, fans were absolutely ballistic, man. It was beautiful, really moving moment, and I hope that it like inspires young girls and girls like across the world to like get into it, man. Then on to the blokes, which was absolutely bonkers. Eugen did that giddy up trick, which I'm a fan of. Danning was absolutely smashing the course up. His ender was completely incredible, man. First go, completely flossed it, and what I really liked was the cherry on the top. When he landed it, and he just was like, yeah, there you go, nice one, job at knock, easy, I'm off. I actually think because he did it so well, it's not going to get the credit it deserves. It was ridiculous, so good. People should be getting bonus points if they land their tricks first go. Not just like, oh, first go, it must have been easy. Actually look at the trick. That was really difficult and he did it. He did it so good. First go. Yuto made every single trick that he did look beautiful and was the deserving winner of the most creative trick. Billy had some cool manoeuvres in there. Le Prez with his double-decker helmet situation was throwing out a few of his like classic wall rides to grinds. He absolutely shredded it, man. Sizemore had a cracker and seemed to be flying off of every ramp. Jaro Frijn was stringing together clean lines. Joe Atkinson bagged himself a few more top Winterclash moments ever. That backslide on the big forehead rail was utterly ridiculous. People have been struggling all day to get 2-footers around the thing. Danny came and did a 1-footer. I think it was like his 4th or 5th go, right at the dead of the heat, like everybody praying, like willing to get it, and he battled it through, which made it even better. When he landed it, the whole place erupted, man. I felt like I was levitating from all the people screaming and shouting. I screamed my lungs off as well. My cousin was in the bogs and he was saying it was like that scene from Jurassic Park, you know, when the water starts to shake because the Tyrannosaurus Rex is coming on, but it was like turbo version of that. It's like, whoa, whoa. At the time, I thought that is it. They can just wrap the shop now, give everybody else their bus fare home, give Joe the win. But Cudot was on an absolute mission. He skates like a Jack Russell that's caught the scent of some sausages, man. He's all over the place. After he landed that kind grind on the perspex, I thought he was gonna go Super Saiyan. We need to start calling him Stuart Pearce. I actually thought he was going to eat his wrist wrap at one point. I'm amazed that he doesn't actually have a sponsor for wrist wraps because he's had that thing on since he was about 14. He put on a very acrobatic performance. He took some serious knocks, which is always a risk with his preferred approach to skating. Goodness knows how he managed to continue, so fair play to him, especially considering he finished off his display with a topsoil to whiplash flip. Slingshotting himself into the Winterclash Front. He said he's the first to win the thing 3 times, which is true of the men's division, but there's 2 other athletes who I've mentioned before in the women's league who have already won it 3 times. First was Friedrich Reich, 2007, 2012 and 2016, and then there was Chihiro Izuma, 2011, 2013, 2020. It's a race to see who will become the quad god. Staying with the women, there was a panel called Chances and Challenges for Female Pros, which gave some valuable perspectives. Martina, Rosie's manager, was quizzed about the lack of female pros on their team. Her response was that everybody currently on the team had asked to be there, and no females had ever asked. Well, interestingly, last month when I posted a video about iconic female rollerbladers, there was this quote from Fabiola da Silva. I want to have a pro Rosie skate, and I think it's still possible. One of the most iconic figures in rollerblading is asking. Surely that's a no-brainer. Do we honestly think Yuto was sat there penning a letter to get on the team? Nils shyly approaching, being like, alright, I'm Nils, like, I know I've had a pretty decent time at Rems, like made a little bit of a name for myself, fairly clean cut image, like, would you mind? Like, I don't want to bother you, but is there any space available on the Rosie's team? Like, don't worry if there isn't and that. I was like, come on, surely not. She mentioned not wanting to split the current cake because Rosie's riders get paid in slices of Victoria sponge. But seriously, that kind of makes sense. However, there's ways around that. You could use affiliate links, which kind of proves that they're like promoting and pushing the sales. You could give them a skate and only pay them in royalties, like essentially giving them the ingredients to make their own cake, so nobody's taking a slice or taking a bite out of your cupcake. Get away. It's not great being put on the spot like that. I'm a little bit surprised she didn't talk about Kate Bedrata though, who's going on the tour with them. She could have just said, yeah, we're working towards like her future and building her into the team properly. Mary raised a great point that when there is a female signature or pro product, the community goes wild for it. I don't think brands should be waiting around to collect data on representation. Putting women on attracts more women and girls. Increasing relatability surely increases participation. This year I hope we see skates for Fabiola, Chihiro and China Wire Style, at least. Staying with the Bladies, they had a new undercover wheel collab and a beautiful like pastel pink 60mm and 80mm wheel. Perfect for whatever you're into, and I do love a clean and simple wheel. In the past, both Senate and Undercover have had scented wheels. I think they should bring them back, but go for more like exotic smells, like mint lamb scent wheels, or like vegetarian lasagna scented wheels. Thank you to all the people that came and said hello to me at Winterclash. I was completely overwhelmed of like the kind words and support that was shown for what I'm doing. Mad that I had to like sign a few autographs and stuff like that. Even did some pictures with people's wives and girlfriends, which was an interesting experience. Like, whole experience proper warmed my heart. Like I said before on a Lino stream, like I couldn't even sleep on the first day because my brain was just like frazzled from all the talking and like all the positive interactions I had. But yeah, I really do appreciate it. I wanted to give a mention about Alex Burston's Patreon. It's $3.95 a month and you get all sorts of stuff on there. Regular uploaded clips, free access to future VOD sections, 25% off Shuriken, free trick tip videos, free skate gear tips, exclusive discounts. I'm sure he was putting up recipes and everything. I fully back rollerbladers doing this, like trying to support themselves, especially pros. Like, there's not one big check really in rollerblading, but there is like loads of little avenues you can take, and I think this is one that should be normalized, and like I think all pros should be into it really. I know that means that like then you're like spreading your money around like all over the place, but you can pick the ones that you really like and like offer you a good like service and stuff in return. And I think this sounds like a good deal. So fair play to him, like go and support if you can. There is a ruck of stuff that I haven't mentioned in this video, but I felt like it was getting a little bit too long. First, Cody Lampman's video of Mike Therese, incredible. Zephyr 4.0. Rewatch value is insane. Watch it once at normal speed, then watch it about like 20 more times at half the speed. Too Easy, Dead Wheels have got a new collaboration. It looks ridiculous. Really good advertising on that. I'm sure there's other stuff I forgot. I'll pick it up again soon. Thank you to all my patrons for being an absolutely lovely bunch of individuals. I really appreciate your support. You can join them from £3 a month, exclusive videos, sneak peeks, all that kind of good stuff. Here's a couple of videos you can watch until I do the next one, and I'll see you again soon. Spotty Dog.